You're listening to the Cool Audio Podcast, your escape into the world of stories, sounds, and imagination. Whether you're driving, chilling at home, or just need a moment to unplug, we've got a story just for you. So sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. This woman is indeed full of lies. After hearing what the professor said, Chloe calmed down. She had been receiving information from Lynn over the past few days. The amount of information was so huge that it almost drove her crazy, although she never wanted to believe in the legend of immortality. However, if someone kept brainwashing her and instilling her with such thoughts, Chloe would indeed become a little weird. Hence, when she told her father about this, she also said it with a sense of fantasy. However, the professor remained calm. "Chloe, Daddy will find a way to bring you and Fiona out." "Dad, Fiona was not born from Lynn. She said that only I was born to you guys. She said that Fiona was born to a clone of Lynn, which is the corpse that was placed in the cave in Iceland. Actually, the real Lynn has never died. She has been alive all these years. At first, I wondered why she was so nice to me, but was so cruel to Fiona. Now it seems like she's too vicious. She even cloned herself. Chloe, these are just her side of the story. Don't be confused. You should think over some things carefully," the professor reminded his daughter, seeing that she was speaking unclearly. "Daddy, you mean—" "Chloe, if I can help you and Fiona escape, I don't mind handing over the red demon. Daddy, we can't give Lynn the red demon. Even though I don't know what it is, but seeing how desperate she is, I'm sure it's not a good thing. Fiona and I will be fine. Jack will come and save us. Jack and I have been together for so many years, and Layla must be full of flaws. If Jack finds out that she's fake, he'll definitely come to us." "Yeah, I think so too. I hope Jack can come as soon as possible." The professor agreed with Chloe. Jack was no ordinary person, so he naturally would discover Layla's identity. Then, he would definitely come to find the real Chloe. "Chloe, is the baby still not coming out?" The professor looked at Chloe's stomach and asked worriedly. "Well, not yet." Chloe lowered her head and subconsciously touched her stomach. "How many days has it been past the delivery date?" "Almost 20 days." "How did this happen?" The professor frowned. Clearly, having the baby in the mother's womb for more than 20 days after the due date was no longer a good sign. "Don't worry, Daddy. The little one is still doing well. He communicates with me every day. The fetal movement is also very normal." "But this can't go on. I feel like something is wrong." The professor was already a top genius, but he still couldn't figure out what was wrong. He felt that everything here was so strange. He couldn't describe how he felt. However, Lynn and Chloe looked so real. Yet he couldn't tell what was wrong. This feeling was especially bad. The professor sat in the room in a daze, looking at the walls surrounded by white crystals. He had a feeling that this was the underwater palace that Lynn had built. It was very abnormal. It didn't seem logical. To be able to build such a luxurious palace at the bottom of the ocean wasn't a technology that humans could achieve. Even if Lynn was a genius, it was impossible for her to make such a dreamy place. "Daddy, I think it's weird too, but I don't know what I'm feeling. What exactly is amiss?" After being reminded by the professor, Chloe had a strange feeling too. There was only one flight to the North Pole, once a month, so Justin chose to take a private jet. On the private jet, Anne looked at the sea curiously. He didn't know why his boss had traveled here, but he had a feeling that things weren't simple. "And you must be hungry. Here, my mom packed this for me before I left. She made this osmanthus cake herself. Let's eat a few pieces." Feeling bored, Justin took it out. Before he left, his mother handed him a square brocade box. When he opened it, he saw the exquisite handmade dessert. Mrs. Cooper doted on her son and was very skillful. Justin felt warm. He reached out and picked up a piece of osmanthus cake. Suddenly, he noticed something in the middle of the cake. What was that? Justin froze. "Boss, what is this?" Anne saw it too. Curious, he came over. Justin put down the dessert and took out the little thing. He still remembered that when he left home, his mother had given him something mysteriously. She even told him to remember to eat the food inside. At the time, Justin thought that it was just an ordinary snack. However, He did not expect there to be something unexpected inside. Justin picked it up and looked at it carefully. It looked like an amulet. It was cylindrical and very small, but it seemed to be filled with scriptures. "Boss, you have good eyesight. Look at what's written here. What did Madam give you?" Anne tried his best to read the words clearly, but he was still a little off. Justin held the mysterious cylindrical object and looked out the window. After looking at it carefully, he could clearly see the first few words. On it was written, Namo Ratnatrayaya. F. What is this, boss? And listened to the incantation and was completely dumbfounded. Justin suddenly realized. Then, a warm feeling rose in his heart. "This is the scripture of the Great Compassion Mantra," S. Justin said. "The Great Compassion Mantra?" Anne was slightly taken aback. "Yes, the Great Compassion Mantra is an extremely sacred incantation in Buddhism. Legend has it that it can subdue demons and is very powerful. It's a scripture that many eminent monks like to recite. My mother has been a Buddhist for many years. She eats vegetarian on the 1st and 15th days of the lunar year. She also especially likes this scripture when praying for blessings. It looks like this thing should be an amulet. My mother's favorite temple is a very secluded temple 70 kilometers away from the West District. It's called Boro Temple. The abbot inside is my mother's master and confidant. She would ask for a peace charm for me almost every year, but I don't really believe in it, so I've always refused to bring it with me. She must have been afraid that I would reject it, so she secretly put it in a pastry." Justin felt like crying as he said this. When children travel 1,000 miles, their mothers are filled with worry. "Wow, Madam is so nice to you. I'm so touched by her," Anne said with teary eyes. "Mrs. Cooper was gentle by nature, so she must have been afraid that her son wouldn't take it with him, so she secretly stuffed it into the osmanthus cake." Now that he had seen this thing, he no longer felt that it was a superstition. It was a mother's longing for her son, a blessing. Justin held the little thing tightly and put it around his neck with tears in his eyes. Perhaps inspired, he began to recite in a low voice, Namo Ratnatrayaya, Namo Arya, Valokitesvaraya, Bodhisattvaya, Mahasattvaya, Mahakarunikaya. Justin was born intelligent. There were only 84 sentences in the entirety of the Great Compassion Mantra. He knew how to recite it when he was young, but he refused to say it. Now, for the sake of his mother's deep feelings for him, he wanted to recite a few sentences in return for his mother's blessing. Unexpectedly, while he was chanting the Great Compassion Mantra, lightning suddenly flashed and thunder rumbled in the fine weather. Almost in an instant, the weather changed drastically. The plane was also affected and started to wobble. "Boss, what's going on?" Anne was dumbfounded. Truth be told, Justin was also dumbfounded. In so many years traveling by plane, he had never encountered such an eerie thing. Thus, in his desperation, he no longer continued chanting the Great Compassion Mantra. He stood up and looked out of the window. However, something strange happened again. Almost instantly, the weather became better again, as if everything just now was an illusion. "Holy F! What's going on? Don't tell me we've encountered an inner space tunnel. Are we going to transmigrate?" Anne was so frightened that he wiped his sweat. "Calm down. I think we just ran into a huge air current," Justin explained. "Air current? It can't be. Is that an air current? Shouldn't it be a tornado?" Anne felt like the plane was about to fall apart. Could it be as simple as an air current? However, seeing that the weather had become fine and the plane had regained stability, Justin got up and opened the cockpit door. "How is it? Is there any problem?" he asked the captain in English. "No." The captain remained calm, and Justin let out a sigh of relief. It was a false alarm. Then, the two sat back down and ate the osmanthus cake Mrs. Cooper gave. When Justin left, his phone was already turned off. He only made a phone call and asked the vice president to take charge of some trivial matters in the company. Then he used the card Jack gave him and planned to contact Jack. In the undersea palace, Lynn was in the main hall. She looked up through the white crystal as if she was looking at something. "Master," Messiah walked over and gently knelt on the ground. "Someone is approaching us?" "Who is it?" Lynn did not speak, but she did not look well. "I was going to have some fun with them, but it seems like I can't. I have to get my hands on the item as soon as possible, or I won't be able to explain it to him. The person that Lin was talking about seemed to be someone that even Lin feared. What does Master want to do? Bring old Wagner here. I want to talk to him about something important. Yes, Master. Messiah immediately went to bring Professor Wagner. When Professor Wagner was walking towards the main hall, he observed the buildings along the way. Each of these crystals cost tens of thousands, yet Lin used these to build a palace. It had to be said that this was too ridiculous. Professor Wagner had always been interested in technology, especially natural ores, until he walked into the hall and saw Lin. Then Professor Wagner came back to his senses. Lin, you're looking for me? Professor Wagner still smiled warmly and called her Lin intimately. Old Wagner, are you bored here? It's not boring. With you and our daughter with us, this place is like home. Even if you're not bored, our Fiona and Chloe are. We can't stay here forever, can we? Professor Wagner smiled and didn't respond. Old Wagner, you're very smart. I can't hide anything from you. So, I won't beat around the bush. I need the red demon. I know it's in your hands. Hand it over. I'll get what I want and everyone can leave this place. The four of us can continue to live happily. It's killing two birds with one stone. Lin, what do you want the red demon for? I need the materials in there to synthesize something, said Lin. What do you want to synthesize? I can just help you. Why go through so much trouble? No, you can just give it to me. I only want the red demon, old Wagner. What if I don't give it to you? What will you do? Professor Wagner knew that Lin's patience was running out. If he didn't give it to her, she would reveal her true colors. We're husband and wife after all, don't force me. Lin looked at him, her eyes darkening. I never forced you. You were the one who kept forcing me. When you brought Fiona and Chloe here, you thought of using this method to force me, right? Lin was silent for 5 seconds. Old Wagner, I didn't want to, but I really need the red demon. What if I don't give it to you? Professor Wagner also seemed to be pushing Lin's limits. Then, I can only kill Fiona first and then Chloe, including the child in Chloe's stomach. 3 lives are at stake. They are all your loved ones, old Wagner. You've dedicated your entire life to scientific research. You're not a good father, nor a good grandfather. If you don't hand over the red demon because of your own selfish reasons, you'll lose the 3 people you love the most. Do you know what you're talking about, Lin? Professor Wagner's voice changed. It no longer had a gentle and patient tone. Of course I know. You keep saying that you want to kill them. Could it be that they aren't your children? I can have many children, but there's only one red demon. I need the red demon, and I need it more than anything else. So don't agitate me, old Wagner. I tried to ease our relationship. I arranged for a dinner for the 4 of us to reunite. I took care of Chloe meticulously and personally made dumplings for her. I never got angry at her, and I never punished her. How could I not love her? I also wanted the best outcome. That's why I said, you'd better be good and hand the thing over. That way, everyone will be fine. Otherwise, you'll regret it. For that thing, you can even lay your hands on your own daughter. You're really cruel. Professor Wagner stared at Lin with disappointment in his eyes. If you'd rather the children die than hand over the red demon, then what's the difference between you and me? You're even more vicious than me. Old Wagner, we're all adults. Don't play word games or the emotional card. I'm being very straightforward. Give me what I want and I'll let you go. Lin, I don't care about the red demon, really. It hasn't been of any use to me all these years. I just want our family of 4 to be together. If I, Fiona, and Chloe can't go out for the rest of our lives, we will stay in this underwater palace with you. Don't be so obsessed with the red demon, okay? We'll live happily ever after. Lin did not expect Professor Wagner to say this. Professor Wagner's words were simple. Don't think about having the red demon. Neither would we all leave. Everyone would just live here day after day, year after year. Each of them should take a step back. But how could Lin agree? She would definitely not agree. Old Wagner, what are you thinking? The IQ of our family of 4 is higher than that of an entire country. Are the 4 of us geniuses going to stay here forever? Isn't it a pity to waste our genius brains? Shouldn't we go out and do something big? What are you talking about? Do you still need to ask me? Didn't you already know the meaning of the Red Demon's existence more than 20 years ago? Old Wagner, you know what it represents, and you know how powerful it is. I dare to do what you won't. The Red Demon won't be of much use to you. Give it to me. I won't let you down. Old Wagner, tell me, where is it? Lynn approached Professor Wagner. Professor Wagner suddenly smiled at Lynn's forceful approach. It was as if he knew from the moment he stepped in that Lynn would treat him like this. She wouldn't be able to control her temper and wouldn't have the patience to continue acting with them. Lynn went through a lot of trouble to gather the professor, Chloe, and Fiona. Not for a family reunion, but for the Red Demon. Professor Wagner knew very well what the Red Demon meant to anyone, especially those with ambitions. Otherwise, he and Fiona wouldn't have been hunted down for so many years. What are you smiling at? Lynn was annoyed to see Professor Wagner smile. Lynn, would you believe me if I said that the Red Demon is not in my hands now? Lynn was stunned. How dare you trick me? Lynn glared. No, I don't carry things like the Red Demon with me. After all, I'm the target of all the conspirators in the world. If I get caught, won't all my efforts go to waste? Then where is the Red Demon? Lynn seemed unwilling to beat around the bush and was determined to get the Red Demon. She knew that Professor Wagner would not hand it over easily. That was why she used Chloe, Fiona, and the baby in her stomach as a threat. At that very moment, Justin and Anne arrived at the North Pole. Boss, put on your down jacket first. The temperature below will definitely surprise us. Anne was a meticulous boy. Over the years, he took care of Justin not only as a bodyguard, but also as a nanny. Therefore, before coming to the North Pole, he checked the temperature here. Seeing that it was so cold, he quickly took 2 down jackets. Without batting an eyelid, Justin began to put on a down jacket, gloves, hat, and goggles. Then, 2 people got off the plane. Fortunately, the captain often sent some explorers over and had experience. Mr. Cooper, this is a supply station in the North Pole, which is also a resting place. There's water and food here. I suggest that you take a tour around this area. Remember not to go too far. This place looks as beautiful as a painting, but there are many hidden dangers, the captain said fluently in English. Danger? Anne was startled. For example? Justin looked at the captain and asked. Polar bears? Justin was speechless. So was Anne. Anyway, I wish you all good luck. No matter what, I'll come here to pick you up in 3 days. This is a request from the travel company. This place is very barren and there's no place for you to travel. Even if you're going on an exploration, 3 days is enough. I wish you all good luck. The captain patted Justin on the shoulder and said a few words before leaving. It was Justin's first time in such a deserted place. At this time, it was night in the North Pole. In other words, it would be dark for 24 hours in a row. After Justin and Anne got off the plane, they entered the supply station. It was a place that was jointly built by a government and an international tourism company to provide food and lodging for tourists. Firstly, it was to prevent cold, and secondly, it was to prevent ferocious animals. There were also some emergency medical boxes. There were 2 clean beds inside, and was a little tired from the flight, so he placed his luggage on the floor and lay down on the bed to catch his breath. This is the first time I've traveled so far. Ha ha, boss. Do you want to bring me to the South Pole next time? To play with penguins? Anne's words made Justin laugh. This kid was quite optimistic. After laughing, Justin took out his special phone and called Jack. Hello? Jack, I have reached, Justin said. It's been a tough journey. Jack was touched that Justin went to the North Pole before he did. Putting aside the dangerous situation over there, just the tiring trip there was enough. Most people wouldn't be able to take it. It was almost New Year, but Justin didn't hesitate at all after hearing what Jack said. How could Jack not know how deep his feelings were? He had previously also thought about asking Rick and Riker to come over. However, compared to Justin, Rick and Riker's identities were too complicated. He was afraid that they would be eyed on, and by then, there would be too many people and would alert the enemy. Justin was someone with the simplest background, so he probably wouldn't attract Lynn's attention. Riker received Jack's message and was on his way, but he asked Justin to scout ahead. It's fine, as long as I can find Chloe. It's the middle of the night here, and I don't have any detectors on me. I'm going to take a break and go to the place you mentioned. The phone I gave you can be used for GPS or navigation. Be careful. Yes. The call between the two men was brief. Justin was the first to arrive at the designated location. Jack felt like he was getting closer and closer to Chloe. However, he felt increasingly uneasy. This feeling was extremely terrible. Justin and Anne lay there for about half an hour. Let's go. Justin stood up. Where are we going, boss? To a place. I'm really tired. Let's sleep for a while, okay? We'll go tomorrow. Anne was really exhausted. He couldn't open his eyes. He didn't know if it was motion sickness or something. Go to sleep first. I'll go take a look myself. Justin put on his down jacket and left. Hey, don't... Boss, what do you make me seem like? I can't let you take the risk alone. What if the polar bear eats you? Anne struggled to get up and chased after him. Just like that, the master and subordinate duo traveled through the North Pole's northern region. Boss, look. When they walked out, they realized that although it was night, there were aurora lights. When Justin looked up, he was also slightly stunned. What beautiful aurora lights! He had once been to the North Pole village of Desert River in order to see the aurora lights, and even Finland, and stayed in a high-class hotel. This was the first time he had come to such a northern place. The aurora lights here were visible when he looked up. It was stunningly beautiful. It was just like the special effects in the movie theater. The green light made people unable to look away. Shall we take a photo, boss? Anne took out his phone. He didn't want to miss such a wonderful moment. Justin was very calm. Forget it. The most beautiful scenery can only be seen with your eyes. Cameras can never capture it. Anne kept his phone after hearing what Justin said, and the two of them continued walking. Justin held the special phone that Jack gave him and followed the GPS tracker along the way. He found that they were not far from the place. Based on their current walking speed, they would reach there in less than half an hour. This was the first time Justin walked so energetically. He trusted Jack and believed that this place was related to Chloe, at the Undersea Palace. Professor Wagner's words angered Lynn. Lynn immediately ordered someone to take the professor away and lock him up. Master, what should we do now? Tell him, I'll give him one night. If he doesn't tell us where the red demon is tomorrow morning, Fiona will die. Lynn knew that Professor Wagner doted on Fiona, so she wanted to start with her. Master, someone is approaching our entrance from outside the palace. Messiah seemed to have sensed something and reported. When Justin arrived at the location Jack gave him, he was dumbfounded. This place was exactly the same as other places. There was nothing special about it. Are we there yet? Anne looked at Justin nervously. This should be the place Jack mentioned. Justin looked at the location on his phone, then looked at the map Jack gave him. He confirmed that it was correct. But this place doesn't look any different from other places. There's not even a house here. Where are we going to find her? When Anne heard Justin say that he was going to look for Chloe, he thought that his boss must have gone crazy. This was the North Pole. In the vast sea, there were only glaciers. The only living thing was the polar bear. If Chloe had been imprisoned here for a long time, she would have died long ago. Justin was also dumbfounded. Therefore, he called Jack. Jack was driving. He put on his Bluetooth earphones and turned on the listening device to talk to Justin. Jack, hello? Justin, I'm here. Jack, how was it? Did you find anything? Justin, to be honest, this place is the same as any other place. It's nighttime, so I can't see anything. There's not even a house here, let alone a place to hide people. Jack, are you sure Chloe is here? Did you get tricked by a scammer? Justin had heard Jack mention that there was a witch from Meowji with him, and he always felt that it was very unreliable. Justin came because he believed in Jack, not some Meowji witch. Now that he was here, he didn't see any suspicious buildings or suspicious people. Justin was a little disappointed. Jack, Justin, wait for me there. Justin, you're coming? Jack, I'll try to get there as soon as possible and meet up with you. Justin, Jack, are you sure this is the place? Is that witch you found reliable? Could she be a liar? Jack, no, Justin must be there. Justin, okay then, I'll wait for you here. Jack, Before I go, don't act rashly. If you find anything suspicious, be careful. Justin. Okay. After hanging up, Jack called Liz. She was a kid, but she was very good at modern technology. Granny, on the other hand, was a witch for her whole life and did not know much about such things. Therefore, when Jack called, Liz picked up first. Liz, where's Granny? Grandma's watching TV. Can you let her take the call? Okay, Brother Jack, wait a minute. Liz handed the phone to her grandma, who was watching TV. Dawson, have you found her? The first question Granny had was whether he had found her. Granny, my friend has already gone there. He has reached the location we marked on the map, but there's nothing there. Like all the other places, there's no clue at all. Upon hearing what Jack said, Granny smiled. Jack knew that Granny had understood. As expected. Dawson, tell your friend not to act rashly. Those people aren't ordinary people. He naturally can't see anything there. There's a barrier there. A barrier? Once again, Jack heard a strange phrase. Granny continued. In the eyes of us witches, it's called a barrier. In the eyes of high-tech fans like you, it should be called a high-level illusion technique. In other words, the other party has some advanced equipment that can hide the place using light. It's impossible to tell on the surface. This principle is like the chameleon changing color. It's not that you can't see it, but it's hidden deep. Granny, I'm heading over there soon. Can you tell me how to break through the barrier? Jack couldn't wait. Granny smiled and said something on the phone in a very low voice. However, Jack heard everything clearly. After hanging up the phone, Jack finally felt relieved. Riker and Legend's men were also on their way to the North Pole. This time, they were really going all out. Jack even knew that Lynn wasn't easy to deal with. Perhaps this time, they would all be wiped out. However, he couldn't stop himself from his sincerity and persistence to find Chloe. His black Bentley slowly stopped in front of the Municipal Public Security Bureau. Jack saw Noah walking out. Beside him was a young policewoman. Director Ace, it's so late. Are you hungry? Shall I treat you to supper? The policewoman was infatuated with Noah's face and tried to please him. Apparently, Noah was the most handsome director of the Public Security Bureau in the city. Therefore, these new girls were simply throwing themselves at him. Some didn't even care if he was married or had children. They didn't care at all. Noah was also shocked by these girls. No, you should go home early. Director Ace, aren't you hungry? The young policewoman refused to give up. My wife made supper and is waiting for me at home. Oh, I see. The young policewoman was a little disappointed. She waved at Noah and left. Noah was just about to get his car from the underground parking lot. Then, he heard the piercing sound of a horn. Then, he looked up and saw Jack's Bentley. Noah smiled and strode over. Hey, President Dawson, what brings you here today? Director Ace, why didn't you accept the pretty girl's invitation for supper? Jack teased. Damn, you were eavesdropping on me. Not only did I eavesdrop, I also secretly took photos. I wonder what would happen if I sent them to Sarah. Jack smiled. Don't land me in trouble. You're my father, okay? Upon hearing that he was going to send the photo to Sarah, Noah immediately gave in. He could still remember the tricks that Octavia had used to woo him. It made Sarah jealous for a long time, and she didn't even let him drive his luxury car. She didn't even give him any pocket money. Those days were really unbearable to look back on. Get in. Jack pointed at the passenger seat. Without another word, Noah hopped in. What's going on today? Noah looked at him. I'll treat you to a drink. You pick the place. Whoever doesn't get drunk is the BS. Damn, these are amazing. What happened to you today? Noah knew that Jack rarely drank and rarely got drunk unless he was in a good mood or in a bad mood. Now that he looked at him, he looked okay. At least he could still see his smile. It didn't seem like he was extremely depressed. Jack, did you find Chloe? Noah suddenly thought of something and asked in surprise. Let's not talk about this for now. Let's drink first. I just feel that it's been a long time since I've had a drink with you. Then I won't stand on ceremony. Haha. Let's go to Penglay Pavilion, Noah asked greedily. Penglay Pavilion was a newly opened restaurant. It was said that there were 12 main chefs. On the day of the opening, the most sumptuous and domineering traditional dishes were made. They invited all the officials in the city to have a meal and received unanimous praise. It was said that the cost of the meal was very high. Even if the two of them ate together, it would cost at least $30,000 to $50,000. They weren't eating anything rare, just normal dishes. But even so, business was still booming. It could be seen how extravagant the lifestyle in this city was. No problem. Jack agreed and drove straight to Penglay Pavilion. Then the two of them went straight up to the top floor and into the small private room. Give me a second. I'm going to call my wife and ask for leave. Noah smiled as he took out his phone. As soon as he finished speaking, Sarah pushed open the door and entered. Honey, why are you here? Noah looked at Jack, who was smiling meaningfully. Isn't Jack treating us to supper? Sarah rushed over with her branded bag. Where's our son? Noah saw that his wife came alone and didn't see Ethan behind her. Our son is asleep. You left him alone at home? Noah was surprised. Is there a problem? Your son is asleep. Do I have to wake him up? Jack smiled as he looked at the couple who had been bickering ever since they met. What a unique couple. They seemed to be quarreling, but they were actually showing off their affection. Are you two done? If you're done, let's order, Jack said. Ha, this rich guy is treating us to a meal. We're here to eat. Honey, order whatever you want to eat. Don't stand on ceremony. Noah acted like it was a waste not to eat. Sarah sat next to him and picked up the menu. Jack, how's the quality of our display of affection this year? Noah acted like he had gotten a bargain. Jack gently took out a box of cigarettes, took one out, and placed the rest on the table. He wasn't in a hurry to light it up. Instead, he fiddled with the beautiful cigarette in his hand. He said leisurely, I decline to watch your display of affection, and I'm going to smash your dog head. Ha! Noah burst out laughing, completely disregarding his status as the director. Knowing Jack for so many years, it was rare for him to joke around. Therefore, to be able to hear such a popular joke from the internet from his mouth, the probability was basically the same as winning the lottery. Not only that, Noah even took out his phone and said to Jack, Jack, repeat what you just said. I'll record and upload it. Stop showing off. Hurry up and order. Don't agitate our rich guy. If he runs away, will you be giving the treat? After Sarah rebuked Noah, he immediately calmed down. No, Jack isn't that kind of person to be lacking money. Noah took the menu and flipped through it. Where's Chloe? Why isn't she here? After Sarah asked, Noah and Jack exchanged glances. Obviously, Sarah didn't know the truth. Only Victoria, Justin, and Noah knew about it. Hence, she was curious as to why there were only 3 people at the gathering today. Without the main character, Chloe? Noah didn't dare to say anything, because he didn't know how Jack was going to say it, so he didn't reply. Jack lit the cigarette in his hand and slowly said, She's asleep. It's so early. What time is it? Sarah looked at her watch and felt that Chloe slept too early. How about I give her a call and get her up? We haven't had a quiet gathering in a long time. I really miss it. Sarah picked up her phone as she spoke. Sarah, don't call. Noah quickly stopped his wife. Why are you so nervous? No, I thought that since Chloe is asleep, it's not good for you to wake her up. She hasn't been feeling well recently. Let's let her rest. Noah's response was fast and logical. Sarah also believed him. That's true. All right then, the 3 of us will do. Waiter, bring a carton of beer in. Jack said this. After Jack finished speaking, Noah and Sarah were both dumbfounded. Hey, what's going on? Noah asked. President Dawson, there are 24 bottles in a carton. Even if we split them evenly, we'll still get 8 each. Are you all right? Sarah was surprised. It was the first time in 100 years that Jack had asked for alcohol, and he even ordered a carton in. In their memories, there was only one time in so many years, and that was the night before they graduated from high school. At that time, they thought that Jack and Chloe were going abroad together, so the 4 of them drank too much. It was the same day that Jack and Chloe slept together, which Sarah and Noah still talked about. Faced with the couple's surprise, Jack simply asked, Do you dare to drink? Of course I dare. Why wouldn't I dare? I've never accepted your alcohol tolerance, Noah yelled. I'm willing to risk my life for you, Sarah laughed. The 3 of them ate their supper quietly in the private restaurant. Jack seemed to be speaking more than usual. Initially, the three of them were just having casual conversations. Later on, they started talking about their high school days. "Hey, Jack, why do you like Chloe when there were so many beautiful girls at Second High?" Noah was a little drunk after 3 rounds of drinking, so he spoke without thinking. Sarah pinched her husband. "What are you talking about? What's wrong with Chloe? She's so outstanding." "No, what I meant was that when we were in school, everyone was still young. At that age, they usually looked at the face. They don't know about inner beauty. That's why many boys have a crush on the school belle. I get angry just thinking about it. Didn't you also have a crush on the school belle?" "Didn't I change my target after my confession was rejected?" Noah laughed. Jack watched the couple bicker and smiled quietly. "Jack, if you could turn back time, would you still choose Chloe?" "Yes, I will." Jack didn't even think about it. "Look at him. Look at you." Sarah shot him a disgusted look. "Jack, can you tell me the truth? Chloe isn't that pretty. Why are you so fixated on her?" Noah always thought that Jack wasn't telling the truth. Boys were visual animals. Everyone would like girls who looked good at first glance. Jack flicked the ash off his cigarette as his thoughts drifted back to many years ago. "It's just a feeling. When I see her, I feel my heart racing. It's a familiar feeling." Although many years had passed, he still remembered the first time he saw Chloe in person at school. Jack still felt his heart skipping. It was an unforgettable feeling. "Ha ha, Jack. If you were to go back in time, would you have gone back to attend kindergarten with Chloe? Then you could know her a few more years?" Noah was just joking. To his surprise, Jack replied in all seriousness, "I'm not that greedy. If I could turn back time, I probably wouldn't have left the country, so that I would not have lost the 7 years we spent apart." Sarah and Noah looked at each other in silence. It turned out that Jack cared about the 7 years he spent apart from Chloe. No one knew how he spent his days and nights abroad. He almost always missed Chloe. 7 years was not a short period of time. How many people could endure 7 years without changing their hearts? Others didn't know how Jack felt towards Chloe, but Noah and Sarah did. They had witnessed them from the beginning to the end. Jack and Chloe had been through so much together. Thinking about how Chloe was nowhere to be found, Noah suddenly felt sorry for Jack. "Jack, everything will pass. Everything will get better." Noah comforted him. "Noah, Sarah, let's arrange an engagement between our children," Jack suddenly said. "Sure, aren't we already in-laws?" Sarah thought it was a joke. "I'm not joking this time, I'm serious. If something happens to Chloe and me one day, please take care of my kids." After Jack said this, Noah and Sarah's expressions changed. "Jack, what are you talking about?" Noah's expression darkened. Jack only smiled calmly. "Don't be nervous, I'm just stating a hypothetical situation." "Don't be ridiculous, it's the new year. It's not auspicious to talk about such things." "That's right. Why are you saying all this out of the blue?" Sarah also felt like Jack was acting weird. "We're all adults, so it's only right for us to think for our children. There's no such thing as auspiciousness or bad luck. It's just like how some people buy life insurance for themselves when they're still alive. It's just a form of insurance. Although I have a lot of money, Pudding and Little Bean are still young. If something really happens to Chloe and me, my parents will be too old, and my 2 daughters won't be able to support the family. I think Ethan and Little Bean have been playing well. If possible, they can get married when they grow up." Jack took a small sip of wine and smiled as he spoke. Perhaps Jack was too persuasive. Sarah and Noah didn't reject him as much as before. "You don't say. This is a good idea. I think Ethan likes your Little Bean. Little Bean's words are even more useful than mine." Sarah immediately perked up at the mention of the 2 children. Usually, when Ethan and Little Bean video called each other, as the mother, she would always tease her son. This time, when Jack said it seriously, Sarah was quite happy. At least she knew that Jack approved Ethan. If Jack, who loved his daughter so much, could hand her to Ethan without worry, what did that mean? This meant that Ethan had a high position in his future father-in-law's heart. Upon hearing this, Noah became excited. He looked at Jack with a cheeky smile. "Sure, but how much dowry did you prepare for Little Bean?" "Look at how useless you are." Sarah punched Noah, making him grin. Jack knew they were joking, so he wasn't angry. If Ethan treats my daughter well for the rest of his life, he can have half of GK's assets, Jack promised generously. The three of them continued to drink and tease each other about the children's engagement. In a way, Jack had settled an important matter. Actually, even if he didn't say anything, if something really happened to him and Chloe, Noah and Sarah wouldn't leave the children alone. After Jack finished speaking, he felt more at ease. In the undersea palace on the other side of the earth, Justin felt like he had a dream. He dreamed that he was in an ocean park. There were lots of fish and jellyfish inside. Just as he reached out to touch the jellyfish, he felt a sharp pain. He was stung. Sss. Justin woke up in pain. Then he realized that he was no longer in the small house at the North Pole supply station. He was lying on a large bed, surrounded by transparent glass. And outside the window was the underwater world, swimming with all kinds of fish. It was especially beautiful. Anne? The first thing Justin did when he got up was to look for Anne. But after shouting for a long time, there was still no sign of him. Strange. Am I still dreaming? Justin reached out and pinched his face, but it really hurt. At this moment, the door was pushed open. A woman in a white robe looked at him expressionlessly. Are you awake? Who are you? What is this place? Justin thought about it carefully. After talking to Jack, Jack told him not to act rashly, so he and Anne went back to the supply station. After eating a bowl of instant noodles, they lay down. Then they fell asleep. But how did he end up here? What the hell was this place? Justin, do you want to see Chloe? The woman asked. Justin's body trembled a little. Chloe's name returned him to his senses. He probably knew where he was now. Chloe was getting more and more frustrated. It had been a long time since Lynn had come to look for her. She hadn't heard from her father since their last meeting. She had no idea what Lynn would do to her father and Fiona. The only person she could see every day was Messiah. But recently, Messiah wasn't coming either. Only those maids who were like walking zombies delivered food to her. Chloe rubbed her stomach, wondering when the baby would be ready. She wondered how Dad and Fiona were doing. If this continued, she would go crazy before Lynn could do anything. When Messiah came in, Chloe was throwing a tantrum. She smashed a table full of food. Miss Chloe, Messiah, go find Lynn. I want to negotiate with her. Miss Chloe, Master can't see you right now. Does she want to lock me up here forever? Chloe roared. Miss Chloe, calm down. I brought you an old friend today. Old friend? Chloe looked at Messiah curiously, trying to determine if she was telling the truth. Previously, she had trusted Messiah and felt that she was different from Lynn. She was not that crazy. Later, when she and Lynn told her that they had both lived for hundreds of years, Chloe was completely confused. After chatting with her father, Chloe realized that her father didn't trust Lynn either. Therefore, Chloe felt that Messiah's words weren't trustworthy anymore. After all, in order to achieve their goals, they were willing to do anything and fabricate all sorts of lies. Messiah then turned around. Bring him in. Then, 2 maids brought Justin in. Chloe never expected to see Justin here. Her jaw dropped. Justin! Chloe's eyes widened. Chloe? Justin never expected to see Chloe so easily. Justin, why are you here? Chloe walked over excitedly and grabbed Justin's sleeve. Justin was no longer wearing a down jacket. He was wearing a thin linen robe that the people here had changed him into. It looked exotic, but it didn't affect his looks at all. Justin was about to tell her the whole story, but seeing so many people in the room, he didn't think it was appropriate. Miss Chloe, Master wants you to catch up with your old friend. After speaking, Messiah picked up Chloe's broken dishes and left. Only Justin and Chloe were left in the room. Chloe. Justin wanted to tell her everything. However, there was something wrong with Chloe's gaze, as if reminding him that there were ears behind the walls. Justin understood what she meant, so he started talking about unimportant things. Chloe, we all miss you, he said. Me too. How's my husband? Did he and Layla... No, Jack already knew something was wrong with her, so he never had any intimate contact with her. Don't worry. Justin seemed to know what Chloe was thinking. Before she could ask, he told her everything. Even though she knew this would happen, Chloe was still glad to hear it from Justin. Is the child all right? Seeing that Chloe's stomach was still bulging, Justin was a little emotional. The little guy's fine. Isn't he already past his due date? How long has it been? Justin thought the baby was born long ago. Yes, 22 days have passed. How did this happen? Will he be okay? Justin looked worriedly at Chloe's abdomen. Meanwhile, Lynn was watching Chloe and Justin's every move. Master, is it appropriate for them to meet? Justin will bring a lot of information to Chloe. Wouldn't that make things harder for us? Lynn only smiled faintly. I think Justin came at the right time. Isn't that girl worried about her best friend? On the other hand, Jack, Sarah, and Noah drank until midnight. The three of them were already drunk. It had been a long time since Jack indulged himself like this. His personality was different from Justin's. Justin was a hot-tempered person. If he was unhappy, he would just drink some wine. Jack wasn't. He had been like water all these years. No matter what happened in the outside world, he would do whatever he wanted. When he was in a bad mood, other than Chloe, he barely listened to anyone else. When the three of them sat together, it was inevitable that they would think of the past. It was rare for Jack to drink so much. Old Dawson, I'm so happy today. It's been a long time since we last drank this much. Noah walked unsteadily. Sarah held on to her husband. My husband's been under a lot of pressure lately. I don't know why, but the Municipal Public Security Bureau has been working late into the night. There are so many murder cases, and he hasn't been able to give an explanation yet. The higher-ups have been putting pressure on him, and I'm just a housewife, so I can't help him. It's rare to see him so happy tonight. Jack, you're the best. Sarah's cheeks were also red as she gave Jack a thumbs up. I've called for a designated driver. Go back and rest early. What about you? Noah looked at Jack. I've also called for a designated driver. I'm going home to rest. Sure, I had a great time today. Let's compete another day. Noah didn't know what Jack had decided or where he was going. She thought that he was just in a bad mood and wanted to get drunk. Jack stood there and watched as Sarah and Noah's car drove away. Then, he didn't ask the designated driver to drive back to South Hill Manor. Instead, he went to the first hospital. He went to visit someone. Yes, someone who had been forgotten by everyone for a long time. When Jack walked in, Thomas heard the noise and quickly stood up. Brother-in-law, why are you here? During this time, Thomas had been taking care of his mother and Stella. Stella had been unconscious for a long time. In the beginning, everyone visited her often and even felt sad for Thomas. But as time passed, the emotions faded. It was unknown when Stella would wake up. Jack was the one who operated on her. He knew perfectly well that Stella was in a terrible state. To put it bluntly, she could be in a coma for the rest of her life. Stella and Thomas had just gotten married, so they didn't even have a child. The thought of Stella's accident made Jack feel guilty. If he had gotten rid of that monster James earlier, such a tragedy wouldn't have happened. Stella was a vigilant person. The only mistake she made was telling the fake Chloe about it. That was why she got herself killed. If Jack hadn't operated on Stella himself, she would have already been dead. Yeah, I came to see Stella, Jack said. Brother-in-law, have you been drinking? Thomas was surprised by the strong smell of alcohol on Jack. He knew that his brother-in-law rarely drank so much. Jack didn't answer. He just walked up to Stella and looked at her. Has Stella not moved at all? What did the attending doctor say? Upon hearing this, Thomas's eyes immediately darkened. The doctor comes every day, but she's still the same. I wonder when she'll wake up. Thomas, if Stella doesn't wake up, what are you going to do? Jack looked at his brother-in-law, who was like a little brother to him. Thomas was silent for a long time. Then he said slowly, Brother-in-law, to be honest, I've never thought about this. Thomas, compared to many others, you're already considered a very blessed person. Thomas seemed to know what Jack was going to say, so he quickly said, I know, brother-in-law. There are some things that I haven't said, but that doesn't mean I don't know. The reason I'm where I am today is all because of you and my sister. Even though I'm not an idiot and have my own capabilities, you're the one who provided me with the platform, and my sister is the one who helped me in my studies. All these years, my sister has helped me, helped our family a lot, sheltered my mom and me from all the obstacles. So, Thomas, what are you going to do if your sister is gone? Jack's sad question almost made Thomas cry. Truth be told, Thomas never thought about what would happen if he lost his sister one day. Because in his mind, his sister was a strong woman, a very powerful character. She would be by his side forever. She would shoulder everything. "Brother-in-law, what's wrong with you today? Are you in a bad mood? Did you quarrel with my sister?" Thomas finally realized that something was wrong with his brother-in-law, so he was worried whether they had quarreled. "No, I can't bear to fight with her." Jack smiled bitterly. He hoped that he would have a chance to argue with Chloe, but God didn't give him a chance. He didn't even know how Chloe was doing right now. "Then why did you come to the hospital at this time? I feel like something is bothering you." Thomas wasn't stupid. He knew how his brother-in-law was behaving was abnormal. "I drank with Noah and the others. When I came back, I passed by the hospital and decided to check on you and Stella." "We're fine, brother-in-law. You've been busy enough with the company for one day, and my sister isn't feeling well. You have to take care of the whole family, too. Don't worry about us." "Well, take good care of Stella. Ask Assistant Mark about the company while I'm away." Then Jack left. The more Thomas thought about it, the more confused he became. Why did his brother-in-law say that he should look for Assistant Mark when he wasn't around? Where was brother-in-law going? However, before Thomas could ask, Jack had already left. At 4 a.m, the entire city was covered in terrifying darkness. As long as one looked up, one would feel suffocated. After Jack returned to South Hill Manor, he went straight to his study room and fell into a daze. The video call of the twins came as promised. Because of the time difference, it was always in the middle of the night. Jack seemed to have been waiting for this call. "Daddy, are you asleep?" Little Bean giggled. "Yes, Daddy almost fell asleep." "My sister said that there is a time difference, so she didn't want me to call you. She didn't want to disturb your rest, but I want to. I miss Daddy. Why can't I call you?" Little Bean pouted. "My little baby is right. Only my sister doesn't miss you. That's why she's being sarcastic. So, Daddy, don't give my sister too much money in the future. Give me more. I'm the one who loves you the most." Jack laughed when he watched Little Bean express her thoughts. "Daddy, I'm serious. Why are you laughing? Don't you believe me?" No, I trust you." "Do you believe that I love you more than Denna?" Little Bean asked. "Delcy, you long-tongued woman. How dare you badmouth me behind Daddy's back? Do you believe that I'll throw you into the river to feed the fishes?" Pudding's voice sounded from behind Little Bean. "All right, both of you stop arguing. Daddy believes that both of you love Daddy equally." Jack watched as the two kids argued, and he smiled helplessly as he tried to stop them. "No, I love Daddy more," Little Bean corrected. The younger sister was especially domineering. Pudding, on the other hand, calmly looked at Little Bean's chubby face. "Loving Daddy doesn't just come out of your mouth. What have you done for Daddy?" What about you? What did you do?" Little Bean knew that her sister was bullying her. "I used the money I earned to buy a lot of presents for Daddy. I even made coffee for him. I even ordered supper for Daddy when he was working overtime at night. I even bought Disney's couple shirts for Daddy and Mommy. Then, Miss Delcy, what about you?" I shared my black swan cake with Daddy." Little Bean thought back to the time she ate black swan cake. Afraid that her mommy would blame her for eating too many desserts, she quickly pulled her daddy over to have a bite so that he could be her defense. Everyone knew that Jack didn't like sweets. However, he couldn't resist his daughter's coaxing and pestering. She claimed to be committing a mistake for her daddy. She had spoken so extravagantly and even acted coquettishly. In the end, Mr. Dawson, who doted on his daughter immensely, was tricked and ate several bites of the black swan cake. She originally wanted Daddy to take the bullet for her. Now that she brought it up, Little Bean naturally wasn't confident enough, and it was immediately exposed by her sister. "Delcy, don't be so shameless. Did you do that for Daddy? You were the one who was greedy that time. You were afraid of Mommy scolding you, so you dragged Daddy down with you. How dare you bring this up? Aren't you ashamed?" Little Bean was embarrassed after her sister exposed her. Her face flushed red. In the end, she whined to Daddy, "Daddy, look at my sister. She's bullying me. She's so much older than me. Doesn't she know how to give in to me?" "Shameless! We're twins. I'm not much older than you. Don't try to guilt trip me with these morals, Little Bean retorted. Daddy, look at her! Little Bean had a unique skill, which was to act cute. Every time she couldn't handle something, she would definitely act coquettishly. Moreover, it was effective every time she tried it. Other than being useless to her sister, no one in the family was spared. Jack's heart softened when he saw his daughter acting like a spoiled child. Okay, you guys are Daddy's daughters. Daddy's heart aches for you. Jack looked at the two little ones and felt his heart melting. Daddy, have I become prettier recently? Little Bean touched her face and looked narcissistic. Yes, you're prettier now. Daddy, do you want to buy me some lipstick? Jack didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Little Bean's strange request. Little Bean, why do you need lipstick? I can't lose on the starting line. When I went abroad last time, I saw foreign girls putting on makeup since they were young. All of them are great at makeup. How can I compete with them when I don't have makeup on? In short, I want lipstick from every brand and shade of color. Okay, Jack agreed without hesitation. Wow, Daddy, you're the best. You can give Mommy a set. She'll be happy too, Little Bean whispered. You and Mommy have one each, Jack smiled. Little Bean immediately cheered. Get up, it's my turn. No, I'm not done yet. Little Bean obviously didn't want to hand it over to her sister. Thanks for tuning in to the Cool Audio Podcast. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a fellow story lover. Until next time, stay cool and keep listening.